Hi guys, and welcome to my latest video. This is a video which I meant to release about a month ago. It was meant to come out right before Evil Dead Rise was released, but ultimately came very busy and couldn't even finish the show by then. But now that we have, it's time for my ranking of all 3 seasons of Ash vs Evil Dead. Before we get into it, please let me know what yours is down below, and if you want to check out my Evil Dead ranking, I'll leave a clickable card up in the corner here. Anyway, let's get into it. I had fun watching Ash vs Evil Dead, but I don't think the Evil Dead franchise was going to work extremely well as a TV show, and especially in this format of weekly Ash adventures, because this time around with season 2 I was quite worn out with all of the same old antics with Ash, the Deadites. I felt like the season was very repetitive, and I felt like we were covering the same content every other episode, or anything new they did come up with didn't match the quality of those that came before or even later. There were flashes of quality and elements I thought, damn, that was pretty good, but nothing which made it stand out and didn't make it that special. I did have fun with this season, but nothing which blew me away, and as I mentioned, I found myself getting quite bored at parts, and it was one of the cases of a season feeling like it was stretched too far, as they didn't have enough content to fit into these 10 episodes.
Kids, who can understand anything they say? Kids.
Season 3 interestingly incorporates Ash's never-seen-before daughter into the season, and at first it led to a bit of a rocky start. You know, things weren't that cohesive. I didn't really buy into the relationship between the two, and not to mention the whole situation was kind of played off as a joke. But then as the season went on, we actually started to get some really good story elements, which then led to them taking this storyline more seriously, which in the end, albeit rushed, I actually thought was quite a sweet storyline between Ash and his daughter. Interesting dynamics were formed, whether that's in a situation where you can't trust someone you thought you could because they're possessed or whatever, or even certain characters developing new abilities that they didn't have before, or on top of that, just seeing new parts of this weird, crazy world that we haven't seen before either. So there were large portions of this season which felt refreshing, which the show needed, especially after what I found was quite a stale season 2. And I know this show got cancelled due to low viewership. While watching it, I didn't know if I could handle much more than 3 seasons by the end, especially where the cliffhanger leaves things off. I was a little disappointed I couldn't get to see where that goes, but nonetheless, big improvement on season 2, but that rocky start prevents it from being my top spot.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try.
With the original Evil Dead franchise returning after 23 years, this time in TV show format, it was interesting to see where Ash was at his life, and nice to know that he feels like what the character would 23 years later. A whole lot of time has passed during this show and Army of Darkness, and the show acknowledges that, and you can see that within the character, whilst also never really losing track of what the franchise stood for. You know, Ash is updated to the modern times, but still has the same quirkiness and controversy about him. Bruce Campbell really pulls off this character well, especially now that he's much older. His charisma still shines through, and the introduction of new characters like Kelly and Pablo were welcome additions, so you actually begin to care about, rather than feeling like they can't stand side by side with the original Ash. It's refreshing to see a show like this in the modern age, with the campy gore, campy horror which isn't afraid to get ridiculous. It is obvious which effects are practical and digital, especially given that it's a TV show budget, but I actually think for the most part it's handled pretty well, and the fight sequences are quite enjoyable and over the top. So I had a lot of fun with this season. It was nice to have this small amount of Ash return, but as I said, I don't think it really lent itself to a show which was going to be amazing. But I think I am in the minority of that thinking, because this show has great reviews. So that is my ranking of all 3 Ash vs Evil Dead seasons. I would like to hear what you think, especially as mine might not match the majority of the public, especially those die-hard Evil Dead fans. So look, I just wanted to clarify, I did enjoy this show, just not on the level of the best Evil Dead movies, and I think Ash works better in small doses than lead like 5-hour-long seasons of shows. But that's just my thinking. Let me know what your ranking is down below, and I hope to see you in my next video.